Right, Autophiles.
Yeah, we're here with electric vehicle.
Yes.
And Bo and I have been talking a lot about premium electric vehicles.
Correct.
And we love going under the hot sun to talk about it, actually. But in terms of premium electric vehicles, there's one that stands out. The BMW
iX. Yes.
It's the only conservative premium German brand that is still selling well, despite the EV tsunami from China.
Correct.
The only problem is it's a bit expensive.
It is 400,000.
Yeah, so if you can't afford 400,000, but you want the iX look, but you can squint a little bit like I think this is a good option.
I mean, if you squint really hard, it looks a bit like an
you
iX,
gotta squint to the point where your eyes look like this.
and you have to ignore this part because
yeah.
you know that part is not iX.
So this is the GAC AION Y Plus.
All right.
So let's talk about design first. Normally we
Right.
do first impressions and then performance. This time we start with design.
Yes.
So straight away from the way it looks, it has that hint of iX from some angles.
Only until here, lah.
Only until here, because
Then
iX
you have
doesn't
the Porsche-inspired one-bar light that every China car is doing right now.
yeah, correct.
Yes.
And straight away, I think from the back itself, you can see that the proportion is a little bit weird. I think your
Yes.
brain immediately tells you this is not an SUV.
It's not an SUV. It looks a bit like an MPV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you peek inside, you don't see the third row of seats. So
Yes.
is it really an MPV?
Right.
It's that uncanny valley. I think
Correct,
the
correct.
A-class, B-class.
Correct.
How is it? The Active Tourer
Correct.
2 Series.
The 2 Series and the B class. That class of car, lah.
Yeah.
Basically, your mum's mobile.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Very popular in Europe.
Yes.
But outside of Europe, it's kind of pointless. But anyway, from the back, you still get the GAC branding, except now the logo is a little bit turquoise.
Because EV.
Because EV, you must
Right.
have some bluish or greenish or
Right.
mixed blue and green.
Yes.
But the only thing that really stood out to me that looked a little bit unique was the A branding. Because you see all these little
Oh, this one.
dashes come together and then becomes an A at the bottom.
Oh, the Ion.
Ah.
Oh, okay, I
You
get
see
it now.
the-
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a kind of motif that you see here and there.
Yeah.
Not very strong.
Right.
I remember seeing it inside and there. A few places.
Right.
So I think that's the one design theme that they got going for this car.
Very interesting.
Yeah. But besides that, really, it doesn't pop so much.
It's a bit bland, huh?
It's a bit bland. But I like the color choice. This kind of golden, green, silver. Yeah. There's a lot of junk in the back. But this is to illustrate how big the boot is.
Right.
It's not that big.
It's a bit higher, the loading.
It's a bit high.
Yeah.
I think the whole point of the kind of compact MPV format is
Right.
that you get a lot of height
Right.
to load up stuff
Right.
vertically. And I expected it to be a little bit larger than this.
Right.
Because otherwise, what is really the point? You just get headroom.
Headroom is good,
Yeah.
but boot size is it's normal, lah.
It's
Yeah.
very normal.
Yeah,
I
very
would say
normal.
maybe a little bit bigger than your Dolphin.
Yeah.
But besides
But
that,
not much bigger.
not much bigger.
Mm.
And the funny thing is the LED is not China white light. It's that.
I noticed that with
One
GAC.
Is that?
I think it's Tanchong. I think.
But
it's
this is not locally assembled.
Oh, is it?
This is CB.
Very odd because you look at the GAC also, and in the visor,
Ah.
it's yellow. It's not white.
Ah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so shall we?
Wait, we haven't talked about one thing. There's no tonneau cover in here. And I don't know if that's a spec issue or what, because you clearly have the cutouts for it here. It's just that they did not spec the car with it.
Okay.
So maybe you can get one yourself and just plug it in. Power tailgate on this
Yes.
model, but the lower variant doesn't have it.
Okay.
So let's check out the side
Yes.
and the front.
Okay.
So at the side, you can see the first thing that strikes you is the shape.
Yeah.
Because it's very compact MPV. They claim it's a crossover SUV, but actually by right, it's more compact MPV.
Yes.
So you can see the shape is very one box. Not very sexy, I would say. And then you got a little weird cutout there.
They tried to do the same thing with the GS3, but
Yeah.
to be honest, the magic wasn't there.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that shape before in a lot of Chinese cars. It works when you have a sloping roof.
Right.
But when you have the one box, it just like,
Yeah,
that line
it's a bit
doesn't-
redundant. Isn't
yeah,
it?
it doesn't correlate to anything.
Yeah.
But the other thing that is kind of special about the side is this flappy,
Oh, yeah.
retractable door handles.
Retractable door handle. And one of the things that we were reminded of the selling point of this car is the rear entry.
Yeah.
You got to check this out. We were told that this was used as taxis in China.
Yeah, literally
Alright.
some uncle came just now and
Yeah.
started to tell us about the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being used as a taxi, one of the most important things is ease of entering and exiting. And I think that is true.
Yeah.
Because this car, the ingress and egress is extremely easy. And I noticed that why the Alphard, Alphard sold so well in China as classes. What the rich man just moved to Alphard straight away is because they say this: you do not need to bow to the driver as you enter the car. It's a big deal for the Chinese,
I mean,
no matter how expensive your car is, if you have to bow to the driver to enter, it's like, why am I paying you?
yeah.
And this car you don't need to bow to your driver, you just slide in.
Correct.
You see that?
But I think practically speaking, it's just easier to just put butt first and just slide in.
Yeah, this is basically a butt first slide in car.
Yeah.
Very good for old folks.
Yeah, correct.
Very good for old folks.
I think, the first thought was this kind of car is good for small families, young
Yeah.
children, but actually it's older folks
Old
that
folks,
benefit
yeah.
from this.
That will benefit from this.
Yeah. So if you don't need that extra row of seats,
Yeah.
you just want a car that's easy to get in and out of.
Before I forget, one more thing. This is a true 3-seater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wide.
Well, at least 2 of us and 1 child.
Yeah.
Because most of the modern cars these days, 2 of us, that's it. In between, maybe a Chihuahua.
Including Lexus RX.
Yes, including even the RX, something so big, right?
And I remember reading that the BYD M6,
Yeah.
which is the 3-row MPV, is actually a bit wider, a bit narrower than
Narrower than
this.
this.
Is wider than that.
Yes.
So if you don't need the third row of seats, you just
Yeah.
want a
Wide
very
car,
wide
yeah.
car. This is it.
Yeah.
And the guy who came just now, the first comment was like, I like this because it's huge. It's a 5-seater that is just huge.
There you go.
So let's talk about the front.
Let's talk about the front.
So the front, you got the closed off grille because it's an EV. They don't need air intake, so they got to close everything off.
Right.
I don't think it works so well with this shape.
It looks a bit odd,
Yeah.
I have to say.
Because when you close off the grille, the whole point is to make it look aerodynamic.
Right.
And then when you have that sleek profile of
Right.
a crossover or
Right.
SUV or even a sedan, then it works,
Yeah.
You get that sports car look. But when you have a tall, compact MPV, you just get this gigantic area that looks like, you can put a whiteboard here and start putting marker pen and all that.
It looks a bit uncanny. Yeah? It
Yeah.
looks like that toy EV car that you imagine as a child, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then they go and give you one of the weirdest, largest lights you've ever seen.
Yeah, this is a daytime running light pattern that I don't think I've seen, but you said you'll see this
I've not seen this in the front
Mm.
of a car. I've seen this in the back of Chinese car very often. And I don't know whether I'm right, but I think they are taking the cues from the Hongqi.
Oh.
Because the Hongqi did this a little bit as an homage to 60s and 70s American cars. So if you look at the Hongqi at the back, it looks a bit like this.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I've seen it being brought to the front. It's a bit overdone, don't you think?
It's a little bit too much. It's like a kind of monster.
Yeah,
makeup
it
kind
is
of
a
thing.
monster face.
Yeah.
But it looks like a bird.
Yeah, it looks like a bird.
Yeah.
It looks like some Aztec kind of theme,
Yeah. And does Aeon has anything to do with birds?
I think I might have read that, but there's just so many Chinese brands now that I mix up all
You
their
get
philosophies
confused.
together. The thing that I was immediately reminded of is the Japanese World War II flag. The rising sun.
oh,
Oh,
cannot.
cannot.
All right, we're in the GAC AION Y Plus. Okay.
The plus is here in the headroom. So
Okay.
it's a bit of an interesting vehicle because you got a lot of design elements that are not the same as the GAC regular ICE vehicle. It's definitely a little bit more high tech. I think the first time I saw this in a Chinese car was when Geely brought in the X90,
Okay.
where the screens are all white background instead of dark background.
Right.
And I thought it was a Proton thing only, but I started to see it on almost every new Chinese car.
Yeah, they are going for this. You
Yeah.
see that here, right?
Very like high tech looking thing.
Yeah.
I quite like it, but I don't know how it's gonna strain your eyes at night. Whether that white is too bright or too bad. But it's interesting in some ways. I think you mentioned it's a little bit more Chinese oriented, China market oriented.
Yeah.
The way I perceive that is that all the buttons are in the screen. To the point where even your side mirror adjusts. You gotta press that, and then you gotta press right front window. Yeah, it's a little bit.
This thing started with Tesla, isn't it?
Yeah,
And Tesla brought it to China, and the Chinese was like, that is a brilliant idea because that cuts costs.
yeah. Not a brilliant idea for the customer.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea for a manufacturer. Because especially when you're in the showroom and you look at it, it's so clean, right? And the manufacturer is not paying for individual buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
wiring loom will be easier to make as well.
yeah.
Because you're only wiring like
To this.
to this. Yeah. So it's simpler from a production point of view.
Yeah.
Just to give you a tablet. And nowadays these tablets are actually damn cheap.
Yeah, they're not actually that expensive.
No, they're not. And they're not running very high-end processors.
Right.
You can use a Chinese Kirin chip or something.
Yeah.
And just slap it in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that Chinese-ness is here.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a bad thing, but to me, subjectively, I don't really like it.
Okay.
Because everything also I have to use
The screen,
it's a bit mafan.
yeah. And there is no feedback, huh?
You have to look at it.
You have to look at it.
And the worst part is this, the voice assistant. You know how you trigger it?
Proton.
No.
Hello, baby.
I'm here.
Really?
Okay, go to sleep. I don't want to hear you. Oh, really? No, it's never.
No, off radio, yeah. It's always doing something wrong.
He's
Sorry,
never.
I didn't understand.
It's okay. It's okay.
Could you try
It's okay,
reforming
baby.
your sentence?
It's okay. It's okay.
It's still listening.
How do I ask you to go to sleep? See? Anyway, yeah. Oh no.
It's still listening. Oh my
You
god.
can
How's-
call me
how do
if you need
Must be
me.
this.
What can I do for you?
Okay, it was almost off. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Nice.
This is the AI horror movie,
Yeah.
you know. It's not
Yeah.
scary. You just imagine an AI that just doesn't turn on. It's constantly listening.
Right. So what's your first impression of that?
My first impression is that it's a very clean Chinese vehicle look.
Yeah.
A bit too generic in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think they tried to do a little bit here and there, like on the outside you can see the A stuff, and then the front you got that crazy bird looking thing.
Yeah.
But on the inside, that branding of Ion on this model at least doesn't stand out.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, Ion has like a supercar.
It has quite a number of models that look pretty decent.
Yeah, they've
right?
got really, really good looking cars. And when I look at the news, I see that Tan Chong is going to bring some of these in. They're
Yeah.
already testing the market.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing to bring this model in.
Exactly.
Because,
No. Why are you leading with this?
yeah,
You go-
because this sets the tone for the brand.
Yeah, it sets a tone for the brand, and people is going to judge the brand from this car.
Yeah.
And this car is neither here nor there. You know, you want to say it's cheap. It's okay. It's not particularly cheapest, unless Tanjong is not making it cheapest in the market. And there is also a bottom limit to how cheap you can make it because of the national policy on imported EV.
Yeah.
So that raises a very interesting question. Maybe your pricing is not right. Or maybe the timing is not right. Because by the time you brought this in and launched it, and it didn't sell that well, right?
Yeah.
And then BYD come in with the M6. And that raises the existential question of this car. It's like, hey,
Why do you
at least before M6 was here, there was a reason for existence.
Yeah.
You know, Dolphin is a bit small. All right. Atto 3, a bit pricey. Atto 3, a bit pricey.
Yeah, 150.
Yeah. So you slot in between in terms of pricing and also size.
Yeah.
So before the M6 comes in, there was a reason, right? I mean, in terms of size, in terms of pricing, it's right smack in between Dolphin and M6, right?
Yeah.
Dolphin and Atto 3.
Yeah.
But now that you have the M6, like
It's a bit pointless, this vehicle. So I think maybe Tan Chong, or part of Tan Chong went to China and they said, hey, this car is running around as a taxi everywhere, you know? So it might make sense in that certain niche. But then,
grabbable.
it's a grabbable vehicle.
It's a grabbable vehicle.
You know, maybe something they thought, okay, when the subsidies get taken away,
Yeah.
this will be the perfect kind of middle class grab vehicle.
Oh, but by
something
then
like-
this car will be quite old, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to see what they were trying to go for with this. But yeah, the niche is just way too specific.
Right.
The funny thing is, a couple of Chinese uncles came in here and they were quite impressed with the car.
I know, right? I mean, one of the most most interesting thing about this car in terms of first impression is that we were just doing shooting and a bunch of people just show up and check out the car. And they were telling us the selling point of the car.
Yeah, well, we had to be like, oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, it's true. Well, one of those things that they were saying is that this car was used as a taxi in China.
Yeah.
And ingress and egress is particularly easy in the back seat.
Yeah.
Specifically, the Chinese loves the Alphard more than the S-Class. Yeah, S-Class is great and all, but you have to bow to the driver as you enter, isn't it? No matter what. The Chinese hated that.
Yeah.
They cannot accept that bowing to driver. That's why you see them liking the gull wing door, so that you can just step into the car kind of thing. And this car has a little bit of... So this car genuinely have a very large rear entry door. Ingress and egress is extremely easy.
Yeah.
It's not one of those cars that you tunduk and then you go in,
Yeah.
You basically slide your butt in or you slide your butt out. It's as simple as that. So in terms of that kind of usage, in terms of taxi usage, I can see it really good.
Yeah. For older folks especially.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, just to like slide in and out. Yeah. So like your first thought might be like, okay, this is for a couple with young children. Then you can fill the boot full of stuff. But the boot is not that big. It's more for older folks, I think.
It's not just that. I think one of the biggest problems with cars in Europe or countries with very strict enforcement like China and Japan is that when you want to put a baby seat at the back, you literally have to walk to the... And this kind of ingress, this kind of door makes working at the back so much easier.
That's true.
Because we Malaysians say, screw that shit, sit down there. You know what I mean?
Sit on my lap.
Sit on my lap. What might be carry 10 children? We take things for granted. But in those kind of countries where enforcement is strong, you can't do that. And baby seat, huge baby seat is a must. I was in Australia and I rented a Suzuki.
I just realized how big the Isofix labels are.
Yeah, you saw that? Yeah, the whole design was centered on that. I was in Australia and I rented a Suzuki Swift. Oh, yo. And I have to use a baby seat because Australia. Even my 6-year-old has to use a booster. So I'm like, oh, come on. But I have to lah.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, my back suffered. My back suffered. So this works in that environment. But it is not a very important point in Malaysia, or you see the problem or not? Yeah, but airy, comfortable. I can see that appeal.
If the funny thing is people buy EVs for the sex appeal, the little X factor, they want to be cool and all that. This is the first EV whose entire appeal is not that.
It's Mummy Mobile.
Mummy Mobile. It's a soccer mum vehicle.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Tan Chong was going for.
Yeah.
It's a very, very specific niche.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, I think it does exist, that niche. It's just that they didn't push the marketing very hard.
Yeah.
So GAC is the right brand. I mean, AION, they do quite well. I think they've been top 5 in China in terms of EV sales.
Right.
But I don't know. The awareness, maybe the product is not the right one. It's not the sexy product.
Yeah.
I think you're right. They should have led with the sexy product.
They should have led
like
with
BYD. Come in with the Atto tree.
Yeah.
Dolphin, just to soften the thing a bit. Then when the seal is ready.
The seal is the one that sells, bro.
Yeah. And then now everyone's attachment of BYD is connected to the seal.
Yeah.
And then the seal can sell your M6 because it's the same badge.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go for a drive.
Let's go for a drive, man.
See where this car is.
Shall we?
Okay, now it's okay.
All right.
So we're going for a drive with the Y Plus.
You know what? The Geely, I don't know who, someone from Geely said this, I think, a few days ago.
Yeah.
Once you've driven a EV, you don't want to drive ICE anymore.
It's kind of true,
It is.
And this car, even though I'm not going to talk about specs too much, it's essentially a very low-powered EV. In terms of horsepower, something like 200 plus.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, in terms of torque also, 200 plus.
Yeah.
Normally, EVs, even the low-spec EVs, I think like Dolphin is also like touching 300.
300, yeah.
So the torque number is pretty low. Like Atto 3, I know it's definitely more than this. Atto 3 is like 300 plus Newton meters. This is 200 plus. So on paper, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a fast car.
Yeah.
But the moment I got this car, I started driving it without knowing all this spec. I just went for a drive back to my house. And not to say I was flying, but this is more than adequate. It makes my Pedana, my Alpha all look like slow cars.
It is. Now, I want to ask you, do you notice that people in the industry who drives cars for a living, review cars for a living, tend to have a higher acceptance rate for ICE, for EV?
Actually, no.
No.
Yeah. People in the industry, the funny thing is most of them do not own EVs. They don't even buy new cars.
Not buying new cars, we all know why.
Yeah.
But do you think that they accept EV more?
Okay, it depends. On the higher, I think it's
Because all of us will not buy new cars. Right?
Yeah.
None of us will because we want what we want, we cannot afford. Right?
Yeah.
What?
and there's no clear trend. Okay, because business owners, let's
Yeah.
say you're in the industry and you're a business owner, like let's say Daniel.
Yeah.
He doesn't accept EV, and
Right.
he will never buy an EV.
Yeah.
Whereas Hafrisha,
Yeah.
Tan, those people, they are also business owners.
Yeah.
They would buy EVs.
Yeah.
I don't know. The rest of them in between lah. There
Yeah.
are some smaller ones who are less accepting. The bigger ones tend to be more accepting.
Okay.
Basically, when you can, you are prepared to absorb the depreciation of a premium car, then
Right.
you would accept it.
Right.
If you're in the market for a premium car already,
see.
you would accept
I
it.
see.
Yeah.
Okay. I see so many backlash against that GD guy's statement. Oh, once you've driven an EV, you wouldn't want to drive an ICE. I'm like, sometimes I ask this question. For 90% of the car, if there is an equivalent EV versus ICE, the EV is superior in every way.
Yeah.
Right or not? I would like some ICE lah, some special ones.
Yeah.
But 99.9% of ICE are not like that. 99.9% of ICE are just freaking transport and they suck at it. I mean, I have to say.
I would think, the way I thought about it was this. If you have a 3-car garage, right?
Yeah.
You're doing the sprint test now. It's not like immediate
It's not.
painful thing, but
No.
it's fast enough. It's
Yeah.
like a 9 plus 10 second car.
It's a 10-second car.
Yeah, around
Okay.
there. I think 9.5 seconds.
Okay.
Some of the warnings are a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a slow car. Enough power to just get going.
It's enough for everyday use.
Yeah. And
In
the,
fact,
the limit is maybe like 130, 140, where it starts to feel a little bit constrained. But that 110 onwards, you can still overtake a little bit.
In fact, I feel that the instantaneous torque makes it capable of having fun more than a 9 or 10-second petrol car.
But the difference is this one runs out of steam very fast. The moment you touch 100, it's just like, okay,
It's
I'm
just-
done, bro. Don't push me anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the issue lah. It is kind of like a taxi spec kind of.
You feel that lah.
Yeah.
A glorified go-kart.
Not so bad.
Not
There
so
are
bad
some
lah.
EVs out there like the Neta and all that. Where you really feel this is a
Okay, this is
glorified,
a golf cart.
Yeah. But this thing is proper EV, just really spec down
In terms of power.
in
lah.
terms of power output.
But more than enough for daily use.
Yeah.
More powerful than 90% of the cars out there.
Yeah, this car is definitely targeted at daily transport.
Yeah, it is lah.
It's just no frills.
Yeah.
Except this lah, the tech frills where they
Right.
force you to use the screen for everything.
Now come to a very important part about EV. What is the range of this car?
Okay, on paper, the WLTP, which is like the kind of can trust numbers, is 430 kilometers, which is about where the Atto 3 is.
Seal?
Seal is a bit more, but
Okay.
the number I remember is the NEDC or CLTC
okay.
one, which I can't really convert to
Okay.
WLTP.
Okay. So this is 430 WLTP, which is roughly where the Atto 3 is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But this has less power than the Atto 3. Which in my mind, it translates to better range lah. Because you have less power, you tend to step on it less. Besides that, comfort-wise,
damn good.
yeah. It's actually-
EVs, damn good.
well, this one has a torsion beam.
Yeah.
Which the funny thing is the BYD M6, the MPV, which is cheaper than this and
Yeah.
with extra row of seats,
Yeah.
has a multi-link rear suspension.
Nice. So it's fast,
Yeah.
enough for daily, more faster than you can use lah, to be honest. It's comfortable. There is no untoward expectation. The handling wise, all
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
lor.
I mean, when I first took the car, I was driving it back, I was kind of whacking it pretty hard. Of course, it was not that fast lah. And it was closer to slow car fast than actual fast.
All electric car
Are like
have that slow car fast feeling one.
Yeah. And dynamically, it's fine. It's not. It doesn't drive like a compact.
Which EV does not have good dynamics? You tell me.
Atto 3.
Okay, and with the exception of Atto 3.
Mostly all of them are okay.
Everyone has. You know why? Because
Physics is
physics is correct. You know.
The only thing that annoyed me a little bit is the sounds.
Oh,
A lot of warning signs.
every
and-
single China car is like
Yeah.
that. Ton of sound.
You'll be listening to music and all that, and suddenly the music gets pushed down,
Yeah.
and then the sound comes
You
in.
don't even know what the heck it is.
Yeah. They do some interesting things like the gear stop,
Yeah.
gear selector.
This is Mercedes, man.
It's Mercedes-Benz, but you'll notice that there's past the D,
Yeah.
if you push it down again,
Oh, there is more.
it becomes auto cruise control.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, this is like traffic jam assist, so you have to have a car in front of you.
Oh,
So if you're in traffic
I
and you're
see,
like, this
see.
is a bit annoying,
okay.
you just push down. You want to deactivate it, you push up.
I get it.
So some interesting things here and there. But overall, it's just taxi spec kind of EV lah.
So what's your score, man?
That's a tough one. I don't think it's exceptional. but I
It's
don't
not.
think it's bad.
Okay.
Actually, for a very mediocre car,
Yeah.
it does a lot of things
Right.
B plus.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
You know, you go and step into another 130,000, let's say Japanese boring car, not a Civic or something like that, into a Corolla Cross even. I feel like this thing has a little bit more to offer in terms of NVH. For
You're
sure.
right. You're right.
It's freaking quiet.
Yeah.
In terms of tech, for sure, there's tech in here that a lot of cars don't have. The only thing you don't have is wireless Apple CarPlay, but you have wired, so it's good enough. Comfort and all that, I don't think this is less comfortable than a Corolla Cross.
I think it's more.
It's a little bit better.
It's a bit better. In NVH, in dampening, in dynamics.
Yeah, to me, it's a more fun option than the Corolla Cross.
Yeah.
So if you want to experiment with EV for 5 years and you don't want to go with Corolla Cross, I think this performance-wise, this is kind of dead.
I think what you said is very true. This car is perfect for those who want to experiment with EV but don't want to compromise too much on price. Don't want to pay too much on something expensive like Seal, which you know is fine, it's great, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
400,000 ringgit, right? So maybe you go for something like Dolphin, maybe a bit too small. So okay lah, this one you try lah.
R203 maybe a bit too common at this point.
Yeah. Maybe what Tan Chong can do is to make the price a little bit more attractive, so that your decision becomes either Dolphin or this.
Yeah. So should we talk about price now?
Yeah.
Oh wait, you want to give your performance score?
Oh, my performance score. What is that to say, man? All EV drives like that one, damn good.
Right.
You know,
They're all within there.
they're all there one. That's why that when the GD guy said that, when you drive a ICE EV and then you drive a ICE lose 99.9% of the time lose one.
Yeah.
Apple to apple, unless you start going into performance
Special cars, or you talk about range. That's the only two aspects.
That's the only two aspects that you can talk about. For me, I think the dampening is fine. I think dynamics is good. Everything is a minimum 3.5 to 4. So I would say it's a 3.8, 3.9 to 4.
Mine is closer to 3 plus.
Okay.
Because I don't find anything too exceptional.
Yeah.
It's really like Corolla Cross kind of level.
It is.
Where it's just ticking the boxes and not doing mistakes.
Yeah.
That's it.
And the only mistake it has is that it will depreciate more than a Corolla Cross. That's all.
Yeah. And it just doesn't look that good.
Yeah.
Those are the minor things.
Yeah.
But yeah, on paper, objectively speaking, it's okay.
Yeah.
Can't really complain.
Yeah.
Okay, so value.
All right. So what's the price?
This one,
Yeah, two specs.
there's two specs. There's a 120,000 ringgit one,
Right.
and there's a 136.
120, 136.
Yeah.
But there is no drivetrain difference, no battery difference.
No, it's just spec,
Ay, ay, ay.
but it's quite a lot of stuff.
Okay. What are the differences?
It's a
This
lot. Man.
one.
There's that.
Okay.
There's
The screen size is different.
the screen size. I think it's the same,
Oh, is it?
but a lot of other things. Small things. ADAS. don't
Okay.
have.
ADAS don't have.
Ah.
This one lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even this thing, the auto dimming is not there.
Okay. That's not the most
That's
important.
not the most important thing. Driver side, the seat
Electric seat.
seat heating is not there. Seat ventilation is not there.
Okay, ventilation. That means it doesn't also roll back by itself. Because
Yes.
this one, when you open, it rolls back by
Yes,
itself.
correct. It doesn't have the Lexus
Right.
entry thing.
Right.
And this side also is powered on the high spec.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things. I think the wheels are 18-inch on this. On the smaller one, I think it might be
Okay.
smaller size.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's small things. Power tailgate. also.
Okay.
So things that you can live without.
Things
I
you can
suppose.
live without.
I'm sure there's like 1-2 things where it's a bit glaring why they don't put it in. But I'm pretty sure they don't give you a urethane steering wheel. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong there. But yeah. Besides that, it's still the same car. Powertrain wise, at least. You
Okay.
still get the range, you still get the output.
Okay.
Yeah. So for 120, I can see it.
Okay.
But for 136, you're getting
A bit dangerously
close.
uncomfortable.
Especially now that there's a BYD M6.
Yeah.
Which is, a
And
bit,
Atto has dropped price.
Atto has dropped price, but they introduced a more expensive spec. So
Okay.
it is back to where it is.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so this car, a little bit dangerous. There's the space. But yeah, the niche is there. It is kind of like the only compact MPV.
Yeah.
But compact MPV is not a sexy thing.
Yeah.
EVs are supposed to sell because they are sexy.
Right.
So I don't know. I can't give it a 4-star. It's
Yeah.
more like a touching tree. Touching tree.
I think, in terms of value, I don't think it's very compelling. That's why it didn't sell. Right? It's okay. It may speak to some people. But for me, it's a 3.
Yeah, it's like that. It's just such a nothing special car for an industry that is supposed to be exceptional. But on the plus side, this is what EVs are supposed to be, right? Because EVs are supposed to be replacing your ICE vehicles. And when that happens, they're not going to be that special. They're going to be normal cars. So in that sense, China is showing you what your standard car, what your Corolla replacement is going to be in 5 to 10 years. This is what they're already doing there. Yeah. In that sense, it's kind of interesting, but in all other senses, it's not. So yeah, okay. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
We got help from Wata Malaysia today.
Wata Malaysia.
So check them out. We'll leave some links in the description.
Right.
Autophiles signing out.
Dia service macam mana?
Dia tukar tayar saja, then coolant.
You, this is not staged. This kind of
Become a
shit
car
actually
salesman.
happened. So the dude actually showed up.
Besar.
Nice car.